It's a brand new day, some new opportunities. This is how we do it. I'm on top of the world.
Chemistry is tough because you think you know it until you don't. The World Cup, we had 3-week training camp, and then exhibition games. You got to figure out, chemistry. And Austin Matthews was our 13th forward. Went up to play with McDavid. It was sick. But when you find it, you got it. You know it, but at times it can be hard to find.
Sometimes you get a little lucky with Crosby, McKinnon, Marchand. They all train together in the summer, so they've been around each other. That helps maybe pull some people in. So that could get a small group into a bigger group, and we got lucky with those three guys, because they're all leaders too, right? So
I think the beauty of Hockey Canada, and this is going back, to the first Hockey Canada team I coached. When you sign up for the job, you're an open book. That comes with accepting the job. You share everything. You share your opinion on your players. You share your systems. That's just what we do. And every staff I've ever been a part of with Hockey Canada, that's been the case. I think that's in the DNA of Hockey Canada, the program.
You guys were really honest about your players or about a guy, and I was like, man, I better be honest. Pretty impressed how honest people were about their own players. Even some proficiency, how we could exploit them or on other teams. I thought that was really interesting. It was pretty cool.
You're sitting here, coaching against, the guys you go to war with every year, but still want to beat them. And you're trying to put game plans together to, beat your guys. And so it's always hard to do, but you got to do it. For me, we'd be remiss if we didn't share everything and be the open book that we can be for the better of everyone. And I think it's super cool when you're like, hey man, I love that drill you had. Like, I'm gonna take that. I'm like, yeah, well, I like this drill you have, and I'm gonna take that. And everybody's like learning from each other. That's kind of the rewarding thing for me.
The thing for me is how much of the players share with each other. Like what's Stoney saying about Jack Eichel, the night we play them? That'll be, because this is all new to me, so I'd be curious about that.
For me, they're just low maintenance guys. They're a coach's dream. You leave the room, they're preaching what we're saying, and then on the ice, the work ethic. I was lucky enough to coach Sid as an assistant coach, and I knew he was going to do that, and all of a sudden, McKinnon last guy off the ice. You can go down the list, McCarr last guy. If the coaches don't go off the ice, they'll stay on the ice all day, so they're a coach's dream.
It's good teaching point when you bring it back to your own team, these young guys that are in a hurry to get out of there. Hey, take a look at this video, the 5 elite players out there working on trying to get it right so they can get better.
Practice ended, so I went to go with you to go pick up the pucks, and they're all on their knees picking up pucks, all 5 of those guys. Someone should take a picture and send that to every minor hockey team. No, talk about no ego, no entitlement.
Coincidentally, they're all wearing letters.
Yeah.
And the guys that aren't are probably the next in line to wear them.
Yeah.
And it's, leading by example is a cliche, but.
Yeah, that's why they are who they are.
Exactly. So what's tough about this is there's no training camp, right? So we're, putting players in the best position to succeed. For us, in our Zoom calls we would have and discussing the players once a team was picked, but it's also getting the information from the players. And it wasn't necessarily what names are being thrown around. I want to play with whatever, Marner or Jarvis or Point. It's more, this type of player can help me. And I'd like to have a shooter. I'd like to have a guy that can get pucks off the wall. You get a lot of that from the players and from what we see competing against these guys and obviously doing the best you can. We got to hope, as we were talking about chemistry earlier, that these guys reel that in pretty quick.
Yeah, I think Coop did an exceptional job of empowering the player through those conversations. That's critical because then they're part of the ownership of making it work.
The average fan thinks, well, put the 3 best players together, it's automatically going to work. And well, sometimes they all want the puck, so you need to so the pieces, they have to go together.
Whether we have the best players or not, I do feel we have a team. And just being around the guys like we have, you get the feeling that it's a team.
I'll start. Mine was easy, 1972 against the Soviet Union. I was in a French elementary school in Ottawa, and they brought the big TV out. I don't know if you remember those ones with the long legs and the TV's up that high, and Henderson got the winner, and they win the series. So, I just thought that's the beginning for me of Canadian international hockey.
Mine was I just loved Espo. that whole series. All that stuff was just, it was
Well, they
it was
encouraged the
great.
Canadian fans not to give up on them too, right?
Yes.
He said, hey, this isn't going to be easy, but we're going to get to our game. And he was good. He probably rallied the troops a little bit with that.
That was my favorite.
Mine would be probably Hamilton Canada Cup, which is a Gretzky drop pass to Lemieux.
No chance it was going to Larry Murphy.
It's true. It's like, he's open.
He's open. No, he's not.
Doesn't matter.
Just because it was in Canada and in Ontario, iconic moment.
I'm the same. I think those 3 games, I don't know if that can ever be replicated.
Didn't you play in Hamilton?
Yeah.
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 You weren't on the ice on that goal?
No, I was on the bench giving water to somebody. When we went to training camp, we talked about these guys here, how Gretzky, Coffey, Messier, they won Stanley Cup, how inviting they were. They brought the whole team together. They were incredible, and I think that's the team chemistry. It was vicious, those games.
Yeah.
There was a penalty every shift. If you actually watch that highlights, there's a penalty every shift. And maybe a suspension every shift.
Cale Makar. I've had the chance to coach Sydney and Marchand and some of these older guys on different world teams. Always seems to be playing in my division, and we always seem to be playing him in the playoffs. Always admired his game from the other bench. You're just looking forward to kind of get to know him.
Drew Doughty, everywhere he plays, he wins, he wins, he wins. When we're playing against them, he's so actually entertaining. His gamemanship, everything he does, I marvel at. Now to have a chance to coach him later in his career, I think he's a serial winner, and I want to be around him.
Yeah, I'm going to say Connor McDavid, just from coaching Arizona the 4 or 5 years, and then Vancouver now, all you're doing is scheming against them, pre-scouts, what are we going to do to stop them, this, that. But I've really, never really sat and talked to him or had a coffee with him. And it'd be nice to sit down and get to know the guy, and really, I'd love to sit down and talk to him.
I got Sid. Obviously, there's a lot of good choices in this one. All 3 of those, they were right through my head, but Sid is Captain Canada. I mean, we didn't even talk about the golden goal in Vancouver for memories. I've never spent any time with Sid in any capacity in terms of coaching, so for me, a guy that's been around that long, that dedicated, watched him this morning pull those guys on the ice to do a little extra for the power play. That's the guy I've been hearing about. I know he's real good friends with Bergie and Marsh, so I hear a lot from them from the Boston days, but he's the guy I want to be around and learn from.
I'll give you this. So in practice today, Sid took off and went right by Braden Pointer and I. Like, just blew right by us. And Pointer looked at me and was like, this is unbelievable. It was just from being on the same ice as Sidney Crosby.
I went with McKinnon. I just think every time he touches the puck, it's probably going in. And he wants those big moments. Seems like he does.
I'm going McDavid. I think we're pretty good hands if, he's a pressure player.
I went with Sid again just because he knows how to win and score at the right time.
He should have shot. I can't play my hand. I can't play my hand with this
that
team.
Was good. That was good.
This is how we do it. I'm on top of the world.